Gutters by Glass of Milk, Part 1. Gutters is a 2010 fanfic published on LiveJournal and fanfiction.net by Glass of Milk. It was written for the Axis Powers Hetalia fandom. Hetalia, for the blissfully ignorant, is an ongoing webcomic and manga/anime series that deals with the shenaniganery of anthropomorphic nations, primarily those in Europe, North America, and mainland Asia. It's high concept with a comedic execution that's, fine, but this does give fans a lot of ways to play around with the idea. Glass of Milk is one of those who takes the concept and runs with it. I feel like if you were to say these following words to anyone on the Tumblr APH fandom, they would understand the reference canned pineapples in beer. And I think the response would be some variation on, "Oh my god, my feelings." Gutters by Glass of Milk is a crushingly realistic look at the end of the world and what it would do to the national personifications. Its protagonist is the micronation of Sealand, also known as Peter Kirkland, and Denmark, as they trek across Western Europe to get back to the Nordic Circle where their extended family of nations is still alive. I won't spoil anything in this section since I think part of the fic's initial impact is lost, even if you pick up all of the information that the author puts down. Also, the whole point of this project is to get more people to read good fanfiction. So go read it and come back in about 3 hours after you finish sobbing into whatever material you deem worthy of your tears. Bye-bye! Part 2. Okay, so now you know how it ends, I hope. Let's talk about some of the interesting things that Gutters does and why I would consider it a notable fanfiction. Gutters isn't necessarily artistic in its depiction of the end of the world. There's no clever or sharp irony to the fate that humankind faces, but its blunt, matter-of-fact reality is contrasted against the humor of the source material. This style also makes it all the more poignant since it's happening to a person with the body and mentality of a 12-year-old. For example, the stark minimalism and onomatopoeia as Sealand relates the blood and gore dripping off of him. He can hear it drip down from the front of his jacket and onto the fraying straps of the backpack. Tiny little plip, plip sounds that should not be as apparent as they are, and the stark, empty quiet that has them cornered in the woods. This atmosphere is present throughout the entire fic and really adds to the realism. If you've ever been badly shocked before, then the smallest details seem to leap out at you, like the sound of blood dripping. Throughout their journey, Sealand is faced with increasingly dark circumstance, and each one makes him grow up a little bit more. But as Denmark demonstrates towards the end, just because he's growing up doesn't mean that he should become just as dark as the rest of the ash-covered world around them. Gutters is an excellent example of a fic that is just as fully capable of having themes as any quote-unquote real book, and without a doubt the theme of this fanfiction is hope. Other than the mature themes that Gutters deals with, like death, the end of the world, death, growing up, and death, I think that Gutters is significant because of how it impacted the fandom. It created a subverse for the authors to play in. Other notable ones from the Hetalia fandom, the Cardverse, the Chupi-verse, Neo-Italia, Heta Oni, and others. In my opinion, when a fic creates a subgenre, then it definitely makes it remarkable. And while, admittedly, Hetalia is basically the perfect place for authors to spawn all sorts of AUs, I think that the fact that Gutters was able to anchor them all together with one fanfiction is pretty cool. Additionally, I think that Gutters works so well because the concept works hand in hand with it. It's established early on that if enough damage is done to both a nation's body and to its land, well then that nation is basically fucked. So if Denmark had needed to kill Sealand, he absolutely would have been able to, since Sealand, like Denmark, didn't have a land to tie his body back to anymore. Denmark saved Sealand in several ways: his life and his future as a real nation. Part 3. Okay, to be honest, I really like Gutters, other than as a fanfiction influence on Hetalia, which I swear I only liked ironically at some point. I'm fond of road trip fics. I'm really fond of the Nordic 5, and Jesus, I really like it when trauma is inflicted upon small children. I mean, forget that. Anyway, Gutters is a great fic for anyone who feels like having their emotion wrecked for a few days. You share Sealand's relief when he finally finds his family at the end, and for a moment, in chapter 19 it seems as if everything will be fine. But then, of course, the proverbial axe falls, and the ending is literally bittersweet. Zealand's future as a sovereign nation is secure, but Denmark is dead, and the family unit of the Nordics will never be the same. And then the tears happen. Alright everybody, thank you so much for tuning into this first episode of Fanfiction Reviews. Just as a reminder, if you like this fanfiction, please go and leave a comment on Glass of Milk. I think that their AO3 is still up. Even if the author still isn't writing, and I will be reviewing older fanfictions, so not everyone is still going to be active, it's still best practice to go and comment if you like somebody's work, I think.